Hi guys, it's Rachelle here. Welcome to a new video. I am back with another book video. It is that point in time where my book collection is getting too big and I don't have enough room for all of these books on my bookshelf. Yeah, so in this video, I'm going to show you all of these books that I'm going to unhaul. In this pile, we've got some books that I haven't read at all and I know I'm not going to get to them. We've also got books that I didn't enjoy at all. And we've also got some books that I did like and I'm really sad to let go of them. But either way, it's just time to move on from these books. I haven't really decided where these books will go yet. I'm thinking about donating some of these books to thrift stores and maybe leaving a couple in little free libraries around my city. Maybe I'll sell some of these books too, I don't know yet. But whichever way they go, hopefully these books go to a home where they will be loved. Anyways, let's just get on with this video. So I'm going to show you all the titles to the books that I will be unhauling. The first two books I'm going to let go of are the To All the Boys I Loved Before series. We've got the first book, To All the Boys I Loved Before, and the second book, P.S. I Still Love You. I don't own the third book. I believe these two books are the first edition hardback copies, so they are a little old. I am letting go of these books because I feel like this series and this story just isn't for me anymore. I haven't read the second book yet, but I read the first book not that long ago. I think I read it like a month or two ago, and I have to say that the story is very cute and charming and it's very enjoyable. I liked reading it and I liked the story. It was definitely really nice to be pulled back into that feeling where you're discovering your first crushes and loves. But I feel like the writing in these books were kind of juvenile for me now. These are YA reads, but the writing style made it feel extra YA, if that makes any sense. And that is the main reason why I'm letting go of these two books, because I just don't think the writing style is for me anymore. I just think over time the writing I look for in books has changed. Maybe a year or two ago these books would have been perfect for me, but now they just aren't my thing. So I hope by letting go of these books, they will go to a home where they are enjoyed more. The next book I'm gonna let go of is The White Tiger. I actually haven't read this book yet, but when I got it, I had plans to actually read it. But since then, it's just been sitting on my shelf for a really long time, and I've never picked it up. And at some point, I watched the movie, but I didn't really like the movie. It was a while since I watched the movie, but I can't remember exactly why I didn't like the movie. I think partly it's because I didn't really enjoy the story, so it's kind of made me not want to pick up the book even more, which is really unfortunate, but that also means that it's time to let go of this book. And again, I'm hoping this book will go to a home where it is enjoyed more than I will enjoy it. The next book in this pile is The Huntress. This is a fantasy read. I got this book like a couple years ago and I still haven't picked it up yet. I just have a lot of fantasy books on my shelf to read. It's actually kind of crazy now that I think about it, because almost 2.5 shelves of my bookshelf is filled with fantasy reads, and there's quite a few that I still need to read. So I decided that I need to get rid of some of the fantasies because I know I'm not going to get to all of them, and this is one of the ones that I decided to get rid of. It's sad that there's not enough time to read all the books I want, because this book does sound good, it has a good premise, but unfortunately it doesn't outrank all the other fantasies that I have and I want to read. The next book in this pile is The Beginning of Everything. This is also one that I haven't read yet, but I honestly don't think I'm ever going to get to this book. I honestly believe the things I like in books has changed recently, because I used to really enjoy reading YA books, but lately I've read some young adult books and they've sort of been a hit or miss to me. Some of them I enjoy and some of them I don't really enjoy. Because this is a YA book and I don't think the book description stands out enough for me, I think I'm going to give this away, maybe donate to see if someone else would pick this up and enjoy it a lot more than I would. The next book that I have that I'm going to let go of is The Testaments by Margaret Atwood. I believe this is a sequel to The Handmaid's Tale. I haven't read The Handmaid's Tale yet, so that also means I haven't read this book yet, but I haven't heard great things about this book. I feel like most people say they like The Handmaid's Tale, but they don't like this book that much, so I kind of feel less inclined to read this book. I also have no plans to read The Handmaid's Tale yet. Like, I don't see myself picking it up in the near future, so this book would just be taking up space on my bookshelf. I actually don't even own the book The Handmaid's Tale yet, so having this book makes no sense. So that means to me that it's time to let it go. I also want to part ways with Never Let Me Go. This book was one of the books that I've read and I didn't enjoy. It's actually a really short read. It's like 290 pages only. It's less than 300. And it really shouldn't take you that long to read, but it took me weeks. The pacing of the story was just so slow. It was really difficult for me to follow the story because I would get bored and start to zone out. So my eyes are reading the words on the page, but my brain would be somewhere else. And of course, when that happens, it tells me that I'm not really interested in the book. But even though I knew this book wasn't really for me, I still ended ended up finishing it, but overall because I didn't like it, it's time to part ways with it. I know some people love this book and want to read it, so hopefully this book lands in the hands of someone who actually really wants this book. The next book I want to let go of is The Picture of Dorian Gray. This is a classic. I knew it was a classic, and classics is just a genre that I haven't really gotten into yet, but I was hoping that this book would make me like classics, but it ended up making me not like classics even more. For me, this book was really hard to follow because of the Old English, and it was also very poetic, and I don't really like poetry. I don't know, I feel like I could have put up with the Old English, but when it's poetic, not really my thing. I did finish reading this book though. This book is literally 215 pages long, and I kid you not, it took me so much longer than usual to read a 200-page book. All because the way this book was written just wasn't for me at all. The next book in this pile is The Sun and Her Flowers. Like I said with The Picture of Dorian Gray, I'm not a fan of poetry, and if you don't know what this book is, it is a poetry book, so I'm sure you can make the connection there why I'm getting rid of this book. I really don't know what it is about poetry that I don't like. I honestly would prefer anything over poetry. I have one more book to unhaul, and I'm actually really sad about this one because this book is titled A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. I'm sure a lot of you have heard about this book. It's a popular read, and I definitely think it's a really popular book on Book Talk at some point. I enjoyed it, but it just wasn't anything special for me. It didn't really stand out enough to me, and I kind of expected more. When I finished this book, I didn't find myself with the need to continue the rest of the series, and because of that reason, and also because it wasn't anything special for me, that is how I came to terms with letting go of this book. A lot of people have told me to keep reading this series because it gets better later on in the second and third book, but I don't know, I just can't bring myself to read those two books. Out of all these books that I listed today, this is the one book I probably have an attachment to that I ultimately want to get rid of, but also at the same time I want to keep it just in the case that I actually do end up picking up the rest of the series, but I know I won't. I don't really know how to explain that feeling, but I hope you know what I mean. But yeah, these are books that I'm going to unhaul. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I've actually never done a book unhaul video before. This is actually my first time. I don't exactly know where all of these books are going yet. Maybe I'll sell some, but I think I'm mostly going to donate it, whether it's to a thrift store or to little free libraries. I think I'm just gonna do both. It's definitely nice to have different options for where you can unhaul or use books that you don't want anymore. Okay, I will see you guys in my next book video. Until then, if you want to stay up to date with what I'm currently up to, be sure to follow me on all my social media profiles. I will have all the links to my profiles in the description box below. Bye guys, I will see you in the next one.
Pull the key out the ignition, run your mouth but I never listen. You hold me back, will never last, keep talking all your shit. Wondering how all this started, you left me broken hearted. You flip my words, yeah this love hurts, keep talking all your shit.